Have you ever heard of Bigos? If you're Polish, like me, you may have heard of it and probably have had it many of times on your family gatherings, but if you haven't, Bigos translates to hunter stew. But when you think of stew, the North American version of it, it is very different than this. So I wanted to share this recipe with you. The other thing I want to tell you is throughout this recipe, as I take you through it, I'm going to give you a couple variations and options because even within my own family, we all do it just a little bit different. I'm starting with some chopped bacon in the bottom of my pan, nothing else added because as it cooks out, I am building some color on the bottom of that pan, adding in 1 onion sliced up, and as that onion sweats out, you can pick up all of that good, delicious bacon flavor that was on the bottom of the pan. I am using a few different types of meats. Traditionally, you would just go to your butcher and say, give me your scraps, cook them out and throw them in there, but I have some great smoked kielbasa, some smoked pork loin, and I'm throwing that in there with the bacon and onions. When it comes to seasoning, I am adding in some caraway seeds, marjoram, and some bay leaves. You can also put a little bit of paprika in there too. When you're shopping for sauerkraut, I do want to give you a couple tips in terms of what maybe is a yay and a nay. So the Polish store, the European store, the international section of your grocery store is where you're going to find the best stuff. I would avoid the stuff in a tin can. I find it just tastes a little different than the stuff in a jar. So find a jar. If it has some Polish writing on it, even better. These jars of sauerkraut typically come packed. So I find the easiest way to get it out of there is just to start scooping a little bit fork by forkful. The other option here, I'm not doing it, but in some recipes and in some families, some do add fresh cabbage to mix in with the sauerkraut, cuts the sour just a little bit. Not for me, I love the flavor. And onto another option, and again, I am doing this, so I am using these options, which is adding 1 can of tomato paste. You don't need to do it, but if you're gonna do it, make sure you also add a cup of stock or water just to cut that tomato and let that simmer, 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 simmer. Want to know another option? Because it doesn't end there with options and variations. If you want to add in some dried prunes or dates, that gives that just a whole nother flavor and balance, bringing a little bit of that sweetness out. It is definitely a nice addition I didn't know that I would love. Whether you use the tomato paste, whether you use the dates or the prunes in there to sweeten it up, you are not going to go wrong making this dish. It is savory, it is lush, it is kind of low carb because there's really not much in there in terms of any sort of potato bread or rice or anything like that. It is just a whole bunch of deliciousness in one bowl. We do, however, in my family, serve it with a really wonderful fresh piece of rye bread, a little bit of butter on there, and then you can soak up all those delicious juices. Okay, I'm ready to go have my own bowl. Thank you for watching The Silly Kitchen, the Bigos Polish edition, and I will see you again soon.